Hey guys, no bullshit here. Welcome back to the channel, and today is a good day. Well, yesterday was a good day because we had the pre-launch community update and it was a great event. Honestly, I was live streaming it. It was great. I have to say, Capcom, you've done a great job actually taking feedback from the community, seeing what people are saying, what they're not liking, what they're liking, and trying to kind of fix overall some issues people had. And now I understand not every issue was fixed. For example, there's some stuff with the insect glaive that people are still having issues with, even after seeing some of these changes. And hopefully they've rectified that more when the full game comes. At least this is a good start. So I'm glad to see these type of events. It's nice to see companies actually caring what the customer base have to say. I'm not too sure how they actually judge what to change or not. Maybe it just depends on how many people are critiquing a certain aspect of the game, or do some certain individuals have more leverage over changes than others. So I know there's some people out there who don't like to see negativity. They see people talking about things they don't like as a problem. I've even seen comments myself where people say, why are you talking about this? You know, it's negative, they don't want to see this. But some negative comments add to some good changes when people understand why people don't like something. As long as you explain why you don't like something and what's wrong with it, rather than saying it's bad. Constructive criticism is important. Be constructive about what you're saying. And then also, you know, give some constructive positivity, you know, let them know what they've done good. Let them know what they've done that is great. And yeah, hopefully they understand what you're saying and they'll sort it out in the game for you. So yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. But let's get into this video where we're just going to go through some of the topics that came up in yesterday's live stream, starting off with performance. Now, they talked about how the performance is now much better. It's been cleaned up. It's not the final version from what they showed in the video, but they showed a brief version of the PS5 playing the game. Now, they said when it's prioritizing graphics, you're going to get, 4K graphics, you can get 30 FPS. Ideally, they didn't say if it's going to be 30 locked or it's just going to be around 30, so we'll have to have a look at that. And then when you're prioritizing frame rate, the output resolution is actually going to be 4K, but the rendering resolution should be 1080p. At least you're getting 60 FPS. We're not fully locked 60 FPS. They did say it's not going to be fully locked at 60. It's going to vary slightly. We're going to have to see how bad that variations are in game. But it's glad to see they're improving the performance, they're improving the look of the game. This isn't the final version from what they showed. They showed a brief video. It's not the final one. There's still more to come. There's going to be some changes specifically just to the PS5 Pro. If you guys are looking to get PS5 Pro and you want to play it on the best console system you can, it should be really good for you guys. Xbox is very similar to PS5, actually very similar. The only difference is the Series S is pretty much at 1080p, 30 FPS. There is no 60 FPS mode in the Series S, which is fine. It is what it is. And then they also talked about PC, saying that PC will have varied performance depending on your hardware, of course, but they definitely have cleaned up a lot of textures, and they've even going to extend the lower end requirements to play the game. So they're probably going to do a lot of optimization to allow lower end graphics cards and CPUs to actually able to handle what Wilds is all about, which apparently Wilds is about a lot, so it's good to know. He also moved on to talk about a PC benchmark tool. Now, I'm not sure if they've done any before for Monster Hunter. I haven't seen any. They're still unsure about this. They said it's possible. They're deciding if they want to do it or not, so I wouldn't get your hopes up that this is going to happen, which is what I would say. You know, if it comes, it comes, which is great. If it doesn't, it is what it is. So bear that in mind as we go forward here, guys. It's very possible that we're not going to see a benchmark tool. But if we did get one, that would be great. So people with lower end rigs can really understand how the game is going to perform when they play it. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty tough playing the game for the first time and seeing polygons are missing like we did in the beta. Now, another thing that I actually hinted out next was Hitstop and the sound effects. They've actually changed Hitstop and sound effects. They sound much better. It seems much more impactful. Now, using the greatsword and its true charge slash seems to be their go-to. And definitely, it was more weighty. It was more beastly. Now, Yuya did say, gotta say, I like the name Yuya. Shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! If you know, you know. Arc 5. Anyway, Yuya Tokudai, he did say how during World, there was a lot of people, newer fans, who didn't like the Hitstop. Now, I was interested about this. I don't know how many new fans talked about this or any fans in general. I don't know how they decide this. Maybe was it a lot of fans in Japan, a lot of fans in the West who were new to the franchise? I don't know. Vice still had Hitstop, maybe not as much as other games. Actually, no, Vice had a lot of Hitstop. Vice had Hitstop, so I'm not really sure why now they decided to take it out. But now it's back, so that's great. At least we got Hitstop back. We got sound effects back. I guess this is the double-edged sword about taking in player feedback, right? What is the good feedback? What is the bad? Definitely someone new to the franchise. Maybe their feedback is, it's still valuable, but their feedback is going to be a stark contrast to someone who's been playing the game for a while, who understands more about what the series is about. But this isn't really a series thing. This is just more like something you see in a lot of games. I see Hitstop is quite prevalent in many games. It's not just Monster Hunter. So I'm actually quite surprised by this. Friendly fire has been mitigated. Now, this has been a big topic and discussion over the last couple of weeks. People just liking the fact that friendly fire is gone, and now you're basically not able to really do much to your allies apart from certain moves. And now they've talked about, they even mentioned the shockproof draw from Sunbreak being a big thing in this game to just allow you to negate any type of friendly fire. Now, how do I feel about friendly fire? I think it can be very cool. It's more of an old gen. I was actually talking about this topic with my guys on Discord, and they were saying, yeah, in the new gen, you don't really need to get the mounts as often as in the old gen, because in the old gen, there wasn't many ways for you to get into the air to do attacks. But in the new gen, there's many ways for you to get some aerial hits. So getting that mount damage is much easier. So in that sense, it's not as necessary as it used to be in the old gen. Yuya Tokuda also talked about this further, saying that he felt that because this game's crossplay and we're going to get a lot of people with different experiences coming together to play, it might be quite difficult for people to really understand and feel immersed when they're able to just hit each other quite a lot. You know, people are going to be very unorganized, and yeah, I guess that's the stake in the game, right? You should be aiming correctly where you're hitting. That's the whole part of Monster Hunter. You shouldn't just be spamming all together in one spot. Fair enough, but it seems like they don't feel like it's very intuitive to the gameplay anymore for Monster Hunter. Maybe they're right, you know, it's not really as needed as before, like I said, but it's still an interesting aspect of the game. So it's kind of sad to see it gone from someone who's been playing since Try, but I do understand why they're taking it out, and I do appreciate some explanations. You know, explanations is important. Just seeing them change something on patch notes is one thing, right? But understanding the mindset behind these changes are important for people to actually accept these changes. So I do appreciate that they're actually gone through the effort of doing that for us here. Now, this is a big one for me. Monsters changing areas. Monsters changing areas, you know, I kind of hate that. I did complain about that quite a lot. I was thinking it's going to be annoying when I saw the trailers, and then I played it and I was like, this is annoying why the monsters move like every couple seconds. They shouldn't need to move every couple seconds. Stay where you are. Let me fight you. This is a duel right now, right? We're dueling like in Yu-Gi-Oh, but with weapons and not cards. But you know what I mean. So I'm quite happy that it was a bug. I'm interested in why they say similar frequency to Monster Hunter World. I don't know the frequency between World and Rise. That's different. Maybe Rise, they don't move as much as World. I think maybe they move a bit more in World than they do in Rise. I'm actually not too sure about that. If you guys can let me know down below. But it's great that they're actually changing this, because yeah, I don't want monsters to move so much. Like, yes, so they can move to other areas, but you know, if I'm trying to fight and the monster's moving every 2 minutes, that's going to be annoying. And that's what happened quite a lot of times during the demo. So quite excited and quite happy to see them change this. Now let's get into the weapons, starting off with Insect Glaive. Now Insect Glaive, as you might have seen on X or any other places, I also talked about this previously in a video about them listening. They've added the Voting Dance back to strengthen aerial actions, which is really cool. There's a lot of people who actually love to use Voting Dance, so it's good that we have it back for those people who want to be in the air. Now I do hope the rest of the game is balanced around this fact, so monsters can actually be able to deal with us in the air. It did seem like you fly a bit closer to the ground in this game currently. It felt like there was a bit more gravity to you. I'm not too sure if that's actually true, to be honest, but that's what it seemed like to me. I guess I'll find out when we use it in game, right? Players can combo into various aerial actions after voting. This is going to be very interesting. I'm guessing they're talking about the descending slash, which is pretty cool. But another good thing about this overall is actually the offset attack on the descending slash, which is an awesome clip that we saw. It was beautiful, honestly. It was so beautiful. And it's the beginning of the move, so you can hold it, you can really time it, and then wait for a monster to come and do something to you, then do that. Now, maybe it might be a bit too broken, and people are just going to be running around, holding on to the descending slashes and waiting to release it to do big damage and also offset a monster. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see on that one. Orange extract effects now also negate knockback while weapon is drawn, so that's a bit of armor. I don't know how much armor, so we have to wait and see on that one. And also right below that, red, white, and orange extracts effects now also mitigate wind pressure, tremors, and roars. That's quite a big one, because in the past it actually did negate wind pressure and roars. I don't know if it impacted tremors though. That's something that you guys have to say down below. If it did mitigate that one, I'm not too sure. But it did do the other two at least. In Rise, I know it did. There were still some changes that people didn't see that they would have liked to see. Now I'm guessing this isn't all the changes, we don't actually know yet, but people didn't like the reliance on the descending slash. It seems to be a thing that's still going to be quite prevalent, so it might be balanced a bit. I don't know, maybe the rest of the kit has been boosted up to match this overall. It's hard for us to say for now, but hopefully they fixed it so you guys can really enjoy this game. Next we're on to the Lancer. Lance got some really cool stuff. They changed the counter. The charge counter now allows guarding while charging. Kind of like how it always used to. They might as well say we kind of gone back now. While charging, and it can be chained into you from any other move. So from watching the video, it seems like yeah, you could just counter charge whenever you want now. You don't have to wait until the end of the high thrust combo. Like I was saying, that was weird and it was strange that they've linked it to that. So now it seems like it's more of how it's always kind of been. So the counter is more on demand, which is great. That was one of the big issues that many people had with the lance in beta. So now the lance could be more reactive, just like how we used to play, which is going to be great. And also the power guard has a lot of changes actually. Now let's read what they say here. The power guard will now charge to high levels more quickly to successfully defend against more powerful monster attacks. And it was pretty cool, but after using that, they hopped backwards and they used some kind of strike forward that looks so strong. I've never seen this before. It kind of looks similar to perfect parry dash in animation. Instead of the rush, more like a big strike, which is pretty cool to see. Like I'm really glad to see something like that here. Unfortunately, it was quite a short clip, but it was still good stuff that we saw here. Lance is looking good, honestly, guys. I think Lance is great. Lance is honestly great. Now, I still haven't done my Lance overview from the demo. It's going to change entirely now. Everything's going to change for that weapon. Like, that will come soon, though, guys. I will try to get in for you guys in the next 2 weeks or so. Now, lastly, Perfect Guard and Power Guard can now be chained into new moves. So that's probably some of the stuff we saw here. It's nice to see Lance having more moves. Now, like Tokuda said, yes, you wanted the Lance to feel like it had more options and more moves to get into, but from the changes, I felt like we had less options because, well, we had the same primal combo that we were using, and then also the counter options were a bit lackluster, like waiting until the third strike and then tanking a hit to do damage back just feels a bit strange. It just feels so weird in concept. So I was glad to see that's changed, and now we have more of a standard way of countering. So all of the talks we've done, I mean, I don't know if any talk I've done made any impact. I made a couple of videos, who knows. Like I said, I don't know where to get the main sources of information from what to change or what not to change, but hopefully, you know, they saw some of the videos that we made and all the discussions we had, guys, and maybe it did a change, who knows. Overall, as a Lance main, I'm pretty damn happy. And we got Switch Axe, which I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Now, Switch Axe, they did improve the sword mode. The sword mode counters are good. Building up the gauge from Axe mode feels better, more satisfying. I'm not really sure what that means yet. Maybe it means it goes up more than it did before, or maybe it means that the damage is higher, so it feels greater using Axe mode in general. It's really hard to know. But then they move on to saying there's been parameter improvements to many moves, including full release slash. So we saw full release slash coming out and it looked beautiful as always. But now it also negates knockback, which is really cool. So it looks very similar to the move back in Sunbreak. But I don't know if they've actually buffed up sword and Axe mode as much as people wanted. Patch notes don't say that, and I don't think they really talked about that either. But hopefully they do some changes to those two aspects, considering they talk about doing changes to other parameters. So we just have to wait and hope on that one. But then we get onto Sword Shield. Whew, Sword Shield was looking good. Raging Slash can now be used while guarding. So this is something that I've noticed from the old gen, where when you're guarding, you can also strike now into your combos. And it looks good, honestly. It looks good. The parameters improvements to various attacks, especially normal attacks and Perfect Rush. Now, we definitely saw the normal attacks. Like, I saw the way it hit. It felt nice. The sound effects sound good. It sounded meaty. It sounded good for Sword Shield. I'm loving it. I'm loving what they're doing in Sword Shield here. So I'm quite excited to play it full game. Perfect Rush looks great too. The camera changing, the sound effects, the animations, it looks very polished. So I do like seeing that. They also moved on to say improve the responsiveness of the mobile chop, the slide slash combo, as well as the gorgeous slash and Perfect Rush. And yeah, you can definitely see that in the mobile chop and the side slash. Being in focus mode and hitting to the sides, it looks so clean, honestly. It looked crazy. I think Sword Shield's gonna be kind of busted, to be honest, because what I'm seeing is great. I'm seeing some greatness here, and I'm very excited to see this greatness in game. I want to play, but we're gonna get to how soon we'll be able to play later in the video. Improved evasion effectiveness of backstep and slide and swipe. I'm not too sure what they mean by this. Maybe iframes or just how far you move. Actually, I have no idea. Now, this section isn't as interesting. They talked about the bow. Now, one thing they talked about here, which was very interesting to me, is how they talk about, and maybe we'll talk about this more in another video, is about rebalancing the bow with increased attack power and responsiveness of moves such as the normal attacks and the arcing shot, by toning down the power of the tracer shots. This is cool that they're toning the power of the tracing shots. Now, they talked about how they don't want to, you know, just lower stuff in the game. They don't want to lower weapons. Sometimes they just want to up weapons, you know, bring everything up to a certain spot, which is great. But there's some periods where something is so broken, you do need to lower it. For example, bows have been broken since day. Right? It's always been broken. They're always going to be broken. Until you can get to a point where other weapons can do as much damage and as fast as these weapons, end game, there is no such thing as upping them to a certain level, because right now those weapons are just so grandly, disgustingly broken that I don't know how much improvements you can do realistically to bring Blade Master weapons in line to those weapons. In that case, there may be some nerfing that may need to be done around certain aspects if you do want to bring them online, and that's if they do. Maybe they don't. And then we're going to targeting a monster with focus strikes. Multiple wounds are now locked on one by one, and the locked on was quite slow. The So I think bow mains are going to be quite excited about that. I actually quite like that fact. So now you can't just use it whenever. You got to really have the good timing to use it. You really focus it down, because yeah, it seems like it's a focus strat. You have to be focused to use definitely bow if you're going to home in like that. Like, come on, man. It's interesting. They're already talking about endgame. If you see the bottom here of other weapons, general wide ranging adjustments to skills, elemental values to balance for the full game content, including endgame, which is interesting because we haven't actually played the game yet, so we don't actually know what the balance is for the game in general. So it's interesting they're already considering balancing different aspects of the game. Like, they could have not told us this. They could have just changed things and we wouldn't have known, because we don't know the balance of the game, but they decided to tell us this, which I think that's an important statement. This shows that they're willing to go out of their way to really change things for us, to really have a look at what is good, what is bad, and they will be willing to buff and change aspects of the game's content as we go forward, which is very nice to see. And then lastly, overall adjustments to hit detection and low damage output compared to past Monster Hunter titles. So I'm guessing it's just some weapons may have done low damage, so they're just improving damage on certain moves, and hit detection, because yeah, the hit detection was pretty bad in this game. Sometimes I feel like it's so hard to hit, so I'm glad they're fixing that. Now, another big section which we might also cover another time, weapon skills. Weapon skills, they actually showed us what it looks like being tied to weapons, which is great. Like, here we have the expedition tree, the hope blade, kind of a nice name, which has speed sharpening on level 1, and then later on they showed us that it had also expertise on level 1, so you can actually get, well, crit eye now, so you can actually get extra skills as you level up your weapons. You'll keep all the skills you have from the weapon, and then it just keeps on going up from there, which is very interesting. I'm actually thinking this game is going to be one of the games where you're going to want to have many weapons, more weapons than you've ever needed in any other monster in the game. Now, the reason I say that, now the fact that different weapons are going to have different skills. For example, the hope blade has speed sharpening. Maybe in the bone tree, that blade has focus, for example, but then later on, instead of getting crit, it gets guard or something like that. Maybe getting the crit and the speed sharpening is more appealing to you rather than the focus and the guard. So even though they're both raw, you're still thinking that the skills it gives you a certain benefit than others. So you might want to change your weapon depending on build, not just depending on what's stronger or the stat line itself. It depends on the skills itself that it provides as a weapon. It's very exciting. They also did say that guard is counted as a skill that they're going to put on equipment. It's mainly focused around equipment skills, things that affect your weapon overall. But there's a lot of things that affect your weapon, so we're going to have to wait and see overall what kind of skills can be linked to weapons. But this is very interesting. I've always been a hunter to collect many different weapons throughout my Monster Hunter games, Monster Hunter series. So this is just going to give me more reasons to play other weapons along the way, because they're just going to give me different skills, which is very fascinating. I can't wait to test out this mechanic in this game. Also, if you notice down below, they actually hinted out that there's a sleep monster. They've actually got a sleep weapon. We don't know what a sleep monster is yet. I wonder what monster that is. You know, you can speculate, but there is nothing really to know, as we don't have anything to actually speculate on. Lastly, multiplayer and chat. So they talked about how multiplayer is going to be a lot of fixes to make it much more easier to get into lobbies with your friends. You're going to be able to create lobbies and squads like you have in other games. This is great, because in a demo, yes, we were quite restricted in how to make lobbies with your friends. Yeah, the environment links were okay, but the way it worked was a bit strange. So it seems like when all the features are put together, things are going to look way smoother, which is great to see and hear. We also talked about chat and sticky limits, so people won't be able to spam so much. We did see a lot of people spamming in chat. Once you're in a party, you won't see that chat anymore, so you won't have to worry about that, which is great, guys. This is great. I'm glad to see. Now, lastly, another beta. Similar to what they said about the benchmark tool, they're talking about it, they're not sure. Now, what does that mean to me? That means it probably isn't going to happen. Unfortunately, it probably is not going to happen. We're probably not going to get another demo, because if they're still thinking about it this close to the end of the year, in the new year, they're probably worrying about polishing, they're worrying about fixing the game. They still don't know what this demo is going to entail. Tokida said the demo is most likely just going to be the same demo with just some extra changes. It's not for new content. It's just for people who missed the first demo, basically. That's it. So I wouldn't get your hopes up. I'm thinking just pulling out a percentage out of my arse. I'm thinking 25% chance you're going to get another demo. Most likely not. So just enjoy the ride. Play other games in the meantime. Wild is coming out soon. So yeah, let's wait and see what they got for us. There, guys, this was a great event. Honestly, I really liked what they had to show here and talk about. I was quite excited watching the stream. This lasted for a long time, 1 hour 23 minutes. I didn't expect this to last that long. So yeah, guys, I pretty much liked everything they said here. Like, I really liked pretty much every part of it, the weapons, skills, and so on. It was really good showing. I'm really excited to play this game now, or even more than I was before. Yeah, guys, that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Comment, like, subscribe. You know, help your boy out, support your boy. And tune in for next week, as we got some interesting videos coming out and interesting things to cover. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.